The last battle for Bakhmut. The Russians close in on the Ukrainian city they've spent months trying to take. Thousands of Russian soldiers have been killed in the assault. Ukrainian forces have been blowing up bridges as part of what might be a gradual retreat.
I would say that there is a high probability that Bakhmut will be eventually lost after, 1 week, 1 month.
Also this evening, the latest leaked messages showing how Matt Hancock tried to save his job after being caught breaking the rules with that embrace. A warning that thousands of elderly people are being left without the care they need.
Trippier's footing, Bernardo Silva!
And Manchester City win, but stay 5 points behind Arsenal at the top of the Premier League.
This is ITV News with Geraint, Vincent.
Good evening. The Ukrainian defenders of the eastern city of Bakhmut are coming under severe pressure tonight as Russian troops begin to encircle their positions. Bakhmut has been the focus of intense fighting, and its fall would represent Moscow's first battlefield victory in months. Ukrainian troops have destroyed 2 key bridges as they try to slow down the Russian advance and make a strategic withdrawal possible. Martha Fairley has the latest.
For 7 months, a bloody battle has been fought for control of the eastern city of Bakhmut. Ukrainian defences have until now resisted repeated shelling by Russian forces and a grinding advance of infantry. But slowly, despite heavy losses, the Russians claim they have encircled the city, leaving only one main supply route open to Ukraine. And Moscow senses a much-needed victory is near, assisted by large numbers of mercenary fighters from the private Wagner group.
Units have effectively encircled Bakhmut. There is only one road left. The pincers are closing. Previously, we were fighting the professional Ukrainian army, but today we are increasingly facing the old men and children. They are fighting us, but their lives in Bakhmut are short, 1 or 2 days.
But there is little left of this city, and its strategic value is considered by Western defence analysts to be minimal. In the past 2 days, Ukrainian troops have destroyed 2 key bridges outside Bakhmut, a possible move to slow down Russian troops, and a sign they may be preparing to withdraw as they come under increased pressure.
So far, some of the extra units are being withdrawn from Bakhmut. Because, it's not a really big town and not many troops can be safely deployed inside. I would say that there is a high probability that Bakhmut will be eventually lost after, 1 week, 1 month.
This morning, Moscow issued these pictures of the Defence Minister Sergei Shoigu visiting a command post in the South Donetsk region. There is no doubt the capture of Bakhmut would boost Russian morale and provide President Putin with a significant propaganda opportunity. Meanwhile, in Lviv, President Zelensky has been seeking further military support from Europe, meeting with the President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola, as his forces dig deep to keep control of their eastern stronghold. Martha Fairley, ITV News.
New leaked messages between Matt Hancock and his officials reveal how he tried to save his job after footage emerged of his embrace with an aide. The former health secretary was forced to resign in 2021 after admitting he had breached COVID-19 guidelines. In one of the leaked messages, though, he insists no rules were broken. Here's our political correspondent, Carl Dinnan.
Matt Hancock's relationship with his colleague Gina Coladangelo led to his political downfall after the publication of this front page, which showed the couple breaking social distancing rules. He eventually accepted that he had to go.
Those of us who make these rules have got to stick by them, and that's why I've got to resign.
But before reaching that conclusion, today's leaked messages show he tried to find a way out. In a crisis management group, his advisor, Damon Poole, asked the couple if they could both think really hard about whether they had broken the rules. Hancock replies, "Other than obviously the 1 metre plus, I honestly can't think of any. The worst they, the media, can do is say, kissed before they legalised hugs." But then he asks, what exactly were the rules on the 4th of May? More recently, Mr. Hancock seems to have accepted that he did make a mistake.
I messed up and I fessed up, right? I resigned, and it's no excuse, but I fell in love, right?
There is also an expletive-laden exchange about evidence from Dominic Cummings to a parliamentary committee. Hancock and his team were outraged by this.
The Secretary of State for Health should have been fired for at least 15, 20 things, including lying to everybody in multiple occasions.
Despite having put on a brave face that morning, Mr. Hancock also messages then Chancellor Rishi Sunak, saying it's just awful and a stark reminder of how hard governing was. Mr. Sunak replies, "Yup, it was such a difficult time for all of us, a nightmare I hope we never ever have to repeat." Today, a spokesman for Matt Hancock said the messages contained nothing new and that their publication was highly intrusive. Carl Dinnan, ITV News.
Consultant doctors in England are asking for at least 3 times their normal pay to provide cover for striking junior doctors this month. Doctors' Union, the BMA, is telling its members to ask for as much as £260 per hour. They say doctors working outside their normal work patterns should be paid more. Meanwhile, ambulance workers in the GMB union say they would be willing to reschedule strikes for later this month if they don't get a suitable pay award. Strike action set for Monday and Wednesday was cancelled by some unions after the government reopened pay negotiations. And this dramatic footage from America shows the moment a high-speed police chase ended with the car crashing over a bridge. The car, which was being driven by 2 teenagers who survived the crash, reached speeds of almost 100 miles an hour before losing control. Next, vigils are due to take place in Edinburgh, Bristol and London this evening in memory of young people who have taken their own lives while at university. Campaigners and the families of some of those who have died are calling on universities to improve the level of care and support they provide for their students, as Sam Holder explains.
The suicide rate is absolutely skyrocketing, and the people that are most susceptible to mental health problems are students.
Phoebe Grime took her life just 6 months after she put this video out on social media. She was a student at Newcastle University. After her death, it was revealed she'd contacted the university multiple times to say she was struggling.
20 hours before Phoebe died, the last adult she saw was a university counsellor. And Phoebe put her hand on her heart and said that she wished the pain to end. The counsellor contacted nobody. 12 different people she told. She told them, as far as I can see, there's absolutely nothing more that she could have done.
In a statement, Newcastle University said the coroner in Phoebe's inquest could not identify any points where things could have been done differently by the university. Nonetheless, we continuously seek to improve support services. Hilary is far from alone in her grief. 100 university students take their lives every year in the UK. She's now part of a campaign calling for a legal duty of care at universities and a framework that can be followed by all places of higher education.
It does exist in schools and in workplaces and prisons even, but not universities. And I don't understand why that is, because I feel like students at university are one of the most sort of vulnerable. You're at a very vulnerable stage in your life.
Vigils are being held at universities across the UK tonight to remember students who've died by suicide and to try to ensure that adequate support is being offered to those in need. Sam Holder, ITV News.
And if you or someone you know is affected by any of the issues in Sam's report, there are details of organisations who can help on our website. That's itv.com/news. The impact of the shortage of carers has been laid bare by a charity's claims that thousands of older people have died without getting the support they needed. Age UK says long waits for social care are causing a huge distress for the elderly, with people left struggling to get dressed or even eat. The government says it's investing heavily in adult social care and is trying to increase the international recruitment of care workers. Ian Woods reports.
Stephen King lives alone and with limited mobility needs regular visits by carers to attend to his basic needs. But with care companies struggling to hire staff, he's sometimes gone for days without anyone turning up. There are 20,000 unfilled vacancies for home carers, largely because the retail and hospitality sector can pay better wages. Age UK says that means there's now a huge backlog of people in need, and many never receive it.
The social care system has been in crisis for a long time now, and increasingly what we're seeing is older people who not only can't access the social care that they need, is that they can't even get a foot in the door, that they're waiting for assessments, then they're waiting for social care services to be provided, and sadly in some cases people are dying before they even get to the top of the queue. So that's around 79 people a day are dying without ever actually having received the services that they needed.
Although Stephen can usually make it downstairs unaided, he once found himself stranded on his own sofa.
I went to stand up and I couldn't straighten my legs or put any weight on my legs. I couldn't move. And I then found myself for a day and a half stuck on the settee. I fouled myself. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to the toilet or anything. I don't have any family or any support. And once again, I was I was very depressed. I was crying. I had nobody coming in to see me. I was expecting to be there until I died. And it wasn't until 2 or 3 days later that a friend of mine looked in again, found me in a hell of a mess, starving hungry, hadn't taken any medication, hadn't had anything to drink.
Age UK have appealed to the Chancellor to provide extra funds in his next budget, pointing out that Jeremy Hunt was a former Health Secretary and has previously expressed regrets about not being able to do more to fix social care. Ian Woods, ITV News.
Sport now, and drama in the Premier League. Leaders Arsenal conceded the second fastest goal in Premier League history before fighting back to beat Bournemouth 3-2, with the winning goal coming 7 minutes into stoppage time. Meanwhile, second place Manchester City kept the pressure on with a 2-0 win over Newcastle United. Here's Chris Scudder.
Having lost the Carabao Cup final to United last weekend, Newcastle must have had enough of Manchester. Now it was City doing the damage, a slalom solo goal from Phil Foden, the England man's 4th goal in the past 3 games.
Superb form.
For all their spending power, Newcastle have lacked goals this season, and that's where they came up short again here.
And what a chance it was for Callum Wilson.
Not just once, but twice, and both opportunities to equalise were wasted. Mind you, Newcastle have a wretched record in this fixture. They'd lost their previous 13 at City.
Bernardo Silva!
Make that 14 after a second clinching goal from Bernardo Silva.
2-0 to Manchester City!
For all their fighting spirit, they couldn't stop the champions again. Only Newcastle's 3rd league defeat of the season. But when push comes to shove, it's second-place City who are still fighting for another title. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
Finally tonight, the American actor Tom Sizemore has died at the age of 61. The actor was best known for his supporting roles, Black Hawk Down and Saving Private Ryan. He's been in a coma since suffering a brain aneurysm last month. His manager said he died in his sleep. That's it for now. Good evening.